Welcome to the Michael Singer podcast, presented by Sounds True, in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information about Michael Singer's work, access to all prior episodes, and information about upcoming releases, we invite you to join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Masters. There's a very fundamental understanding of something really, really important that very, very few people understand. And we're just going to cut through it and not try to bring your entire intellect along, but just explain a very, very deep truth that maybe someday science, medicine, religions will come to understand. It's a concept that in yoga is called Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti. They're Sanskrit words, and Chit means consciousness, and Shakti means energy. It's interesting. We all know there's energy. We all know there's consciousness. What we don't know, although some of us do, but you will if you work with yourself, is that they're really all one word. They're not separate words. The word is Chit Shakti, because they're the same thing. That's the key. Consciousness and energy are the same thing. Just like we used to think there was electricity and there was magnetism. Then they figured out that they were the same exact force. Electricity and magnetism are the same thing. If you wrap a metal rod inside of a coil and you spin it, it creates electricity. If you take electricity and you spin it around a metal rod, it creates magnetism. They're the same thing. They're just coming in from different angles. And so we now have what we call an electromagnetic spectrum. They don't speak of them as separate. You've heard of those words? The electromagnetic spectrum. You think nothing of it. That's an amazing breakthrough to realize these forces are the same thing. Consciousness and energy are the same thing. There is no difference. It's Chit Shakti. First of all, what has that got to do with you? A lot. Okay? Western science understands the physical plane phenomenally well. I mean, it's beyond comprehension how well they have done studying the physical plane. I want to know how you know anything. When you say, well, I have a mind. What is that? It's not physical. Point to it. Show me. Prove it. Can't even come close. So they use this thing called the mind to study what's outside. What are your thoughts? Where do they come from? What is intellect? You have intellect. You may not be Einstein, but you have intellect. You can reason. You can logic. You know things. You have intellect. What is that? Where did it come from? So the great yogis did an amazing thing. Back in the very old days, thousand years ago, the original yogis are called rishis. So presumably in the yogic tradition, there's 7 great rishis. They're the ones who figured this all out. They figured out what is the nature of consciousness, what's the nature of energy. How do they do that? Not by building microscopes and studying things or talking to Freud, or by using intellect. They went into the caves and they meditated. What does that mean? They went into places that were so quiet that their consciousness did not get distracted by anything in the outside world. That's the representation of a cave. And they did what? They tried to study, who are they? Who is this in here? I hear, but who hears? I see, but who sees? I think, but who thinks? I have thoughts. How do you know? How do you know you have thoughts? You know you have thoughts. You know you have thoughts, don't you? All right? Watch what you say. I have thoughts. Subject, verb, object. You're exactly right. The subject has thoughts. Who's the subject? My mind is driving me crazy today. What you've just said is you're not your mind. My is a possessive pronoun. My car, my house, my mind, my hand, my nose, my wife, my husband, my child, they're possessive. They're not who you are. They're something you have. Well, they went into the case to find out who the you is. Fair enough. It's great. You have great thoughts. Where do they come from? Who are you? Who's having that? And so this is the beginning of yoga. This is the foundation of seeking the source of self. You say myself. But what you mean by myself is your ego. Is a collection of thoughts that you built in your mind that say, I am a woman. I am a man. You are not. You look in the mirror, you see a woman's or a man's body, and you say, this I that I built inside myself, thinks of myself as a man or a woman, as tall or short. But what if you go to society where you're 5'2", but they're all 4'3"? Then I am tall. Notice that the I am is not the same as I feel. I am is a sacred verb. It is defining an identity. That's what I am is supposed to be. I like that in Spanish, they have two different verbs, estar and ser. What is the difference? They both are I am. But one is I am temporarily this. I am hungry. You just defined yourself as hunger. I'm angry. That's who you are, is it? No, that's what you're experiencing. That's what you feel. All right? So you use the word estar. If you're saying I am this, it's a permanent state of this, then you use ser. The net result is you are defining yourself by the experiences you had. That's what you mean by I. I'm so-and-so's husband. I'm so-and-so's wife. I'm so-and-so's mother or father. What that's basically saying is if that's who you are, then you didn't exist before you had the child. You weren't even there. You didn't exist before you got married because you said, I am the wife. Well, what were you before you were the wife? I didn't exist. That's not true. Being the wife or the husband is an experience you had. I had the experience of getting married. How do you know? Here's my album. So-and-so came. You're defining yourself by the experience you had. That is what your ego is. Don't make it complicated. That's not like a big ego. Yeah, everyone's got an ego, right? But the ego is a false identification of self. What does psychology call your ego? Your self-concept. Ever heard that? Your self-concept. What is a concept? Something in your mind. Something you made up. By definition, concept and reality are different things. You can have a concept of reality, but that's still a mental thought. So your ego is something you made up in your mind to define yourself. Listen to me. This is the essence of spirituality. It is something you made up. It's a thought pattern, a collection of thoughts that you made up about yourself. I'm the person who won this. I'm the person who was sick when I was young. I'm the person that had polio. I'm the person that did it. I'm the person that so-and-so left me and I was in so much trouble, but I rose above it. That's your I. You're saying I'm the experience I had. That's not who you are. You're the one that's aware that you have. Do you have an ego? Do you have something in there that has to defend itself? If somebody walked up to you and said, I want to introduce you to my husband. And they said to you, what are you talking about? That's my husband. How you doing? It didn't match your self-concept. And it got kind of weird in there, didn't it? That's because you defined yourself as something you're not. And it can be challenged. And even you can challenge it. You can sit there and say, well, I thought that he loved me. I thought that's who I was. I thought I was the love of his life. And now I'm nothing. Look what you did. Your thoughts don't match anymore. Ever have that happen? Okay. So that's your ego. That's what you did. The yogis went back further, the great ones, to say, wait a minute. I am watching my ego. I am watching it get upset. I'm watching it get happy. I can watch myself build an ego. I used to tell you that story as a perfect example, right? Make believe you never played a guitar ever in your entire life. Never even touched a thing. And John left his guitar after services. And you came in here, you better not, you came in here and picked it up. Well, look at that, man. How you play it, right? You start plucking the thing. You're playing around. You don't know how to play. You don't know how to thing. You just boom, 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 air, doing your little thing, all right? And all of a sudden, 2 or 3 people walk in the back door, and they're behind the curtain, and they're listening to you. And you're doing your thing, and all of a sudden you look up, and they're just staring at you. And you stop playing, and they say, how long have you been playing? My God, you're good, right? And you sit there and say, I've never touched a guitar in my life. You're a prodigy. My God, you're probably the finest guitarist that was ever born if you've never touched this before. Okay, how you doing? Now I am a prodigy. I am a great guitarist. Now all of a sudden, you go about your business, other people leave, you're feeling pretty good, right? Some other people walk in. Oh my God, will you stop it? What, you've never played before in your life? You're terrible. You have no right to touch the guitar. How do you feel? 5 minutes ago, you say, yeah, you're right. Now you feel terrible. That's the ego. That's how easy it is to build the thing. You built one, didn't you? Exactly like that. The experience that you had, that you liked, that were pleasant, that felt good, you held them and said, I am this. The ones you didn't like, I was married to a guy named Ben, and he was a real schnook, and I ain't going out with no Bens. I had enough Ben for the rest of my life. That's who I am. I'm the person that ain't benning around. And I'm not getting married either. I got married once. Marriage doesn't work. Don't tell me. I had the experience directly. Oh my God, how can you talk like that? How many did you have? There's what, 8.3 billion people running around. A lot of them got married and had children, right? No, it's a bad thing. Because you had one experience. That is what your ego is. Take a breath. It's nothing. It is something you made up in your mind because of experiences that you had in the past. You put them together and you said, here I am. And if you accept me, I like you. And if you don't accept me, I don't like you. Who are your friends? The people who accept you for who you are. No, they accept you for what you made up. What if you fall in love with somebody and they don't like a certain aspect of your being? I can change. I can. I'm sorry. I don't have to be like that. You're proving you made it up. Have you ever done it? I can change. Wow. Okay. So you had these experiences. You held them in your mind. And you identified with that as you. It's not who you are. You're not your ego. It can change in a minute. It's just a pattern of thoughts that your consciousness, your awareness got identified with and started hanging out with. This is me. Accept me. Love it or leave it. Okay? That's what it is. So that's your self-concept. Well, the yogis went back there because they said, that doesn't seem very real to me. I want to find out who is noticing the ego, who is noticing the thoughts, who is noticing the likes, who's noticing the dislikes, who's noticing what comes in through the eyes, who's in there, who's the ultimate end user of all of this. Because it's the same being. You who notice your thoughts is the exact you who knows your emotions. And when you notice your thoughts and emotions, you can be noticing what's going outside, causing the thoughts and emotions to be what they are. You're pretty present. You got a lot of consciousness there. It's the same you. Who is that? What is that? And they found out something amazing. They went back there by letting go. How do you do it? You don't get distracted by the outside world. Because if you get distracted by the outside world, then that's what your consciousness is doing. It's hanging out with the outside world. If I look at my hand, then I'm hand conscious. If I don't look at my hand, I'm still here. You're not conscious of the hand. And you realize the entire outside world is that way. Your senses pass the outside world back so your consciousness can see it. The camera doesn't know what it's taking a picture of. Your eye doesn't know what it's taking a picture of. And so it is your consciousness that's receiving the image, and it's the same consciousness. Were you in there yesterday? Were you in there experiencing yesterday? Yes or no? How do you know? It was in there. Were you in there 5 days ago? Were you in there receiving what came in through your senses and noticing your thoughts and emotions 5 days ago? How about 5 years ago? How about when you were 12? Were you in there seeing a 12-year-old's thoughts, a 12-year-old's self-concept, a 12-year-old's body? Yes or no? Of course. You've been in there from the beginning. Same you, just looking at something different. When you were young, you wanted a toy, a truck, this, that. Now you want a relationship. You didn't know anything about relationships back then. Who cares? Okay? It's the same you. There's just one you in there. The trouble is that consciousness is staring at whatever it's looking at. It's staring at the object of consciousness. So it's staring at your thoughts. It's staring at your emotions. It's staring at your body. It's staring at what's coming through your senses. It's not just staring at it. It's lost in it. It lost its sense of self in what it was looking at. That's the fall from the garden. That's the fall from the garden. You are the one who's in there. But you got so lost looking at what you were looking at that you started defining yourself by what you're looking at. And that's a human being. You fell from God. You fell from the garden. Well, the great ones went back by letting go of the senses, letting go of the thoughts, letting go, not suppressing, just letting them go. They're nothing. They're like wind, clouds in the sky. Let them go. White lines in the road. Let them go. So it didn't distract you. If it's not distracting you, where do you end up? Not distracted. Where is not distracted? What is the core? What is the essence of your being? And they ended up in the center, in consciousness, in witness, you call it. Well, fine. Then you sit in witness long enough, and that's a state. It's a state. What does it mean to sit in witness? You're not being drawn out of yourself by what you're looking at. There's no emotion that draws you out. You get an emotion, but it just passes right through. You don't change your... I can sit here and look at that picture. I'm still sitting here, unless there's something in that picture that I really like or don't like a lot. And the next thing I know, I'm not sitting here. I am, but my consciousness isn't. I've projected my sense of being, my sense of consciousness onto what I'm looking at. People do it all the time with all kinds of stuff. You see a snake. You're not there seeing the snake. You're freaked out in the emotion. You're lost in all kinds of things. Draw your consciousness to where that's it. That's where you are. You lose yourself. Have you ever lost yourself? Have you ever lost yourself? Ha ha ha. All right? So witness consciousness is when you're able to sit there and there's no effort. How hard is it for you to see me right now? I better try hard. How much effort are you putting out to see what's in this room right now in front of you? None. Zero. That's how much effort you put out to stay in witness consciousness. It's what you see inside. Here's a thought. Here's an emotion. The trouble is, if somebody's sitting over there next to somebody else and I'm jealous, and now I can't see you guys. I only have eyes for you. It drew my consciousness into it to where I now have to force my way out. That's what you're doing inside. You should be able to just see your thoughts and see your emotions. No effort. There's no technique. Here's a technique for how you can see. Are you crazy? You just see. There's no effort. It's the same thing inside. It's just that you're so attached and distracted by your thoughts and your emotions that you can't stay seated in the seat of consciousness. You get drawn into them. That's a problem. Why? Because what you stored in there is what bothered you the most. That's what psychology is all about. That's what Freud's all about. You bother to store the things that you didn't like from the past inside your mind. Why? They're over. Why do you want to keep the worst thing that ever happened to you when you were 3 years old, 5 years old, inside of your mind so it can bother you the rest of your life? If I was at a retreat, I don't do retreats with you guys. I don't do retreats at all because you would not like it at all. All right? I would make you explain to me what a stupid thing that is to do. To take that which bothered you the most 50 years ago and have it still be inside of you bothering you. All right? But your friends say, oh, you poor thing. No, not you poor thing, you stupid idiot. That's true compassion. One is sympathy. Oh, you poor thing. I know what that's like. I had my problems too. That's sympathy, all right? Compassion is, you don't have to be doing that. You don't have to be suffering. I have deep compassion for you that you haven't caught on yet, that you do not have to be doing that. All right? Come on up where it's nice to breathe. Not, I'll go down with you. Sympathy is okay, which is fine, all right? I'll go down there with you. Now you feel you have a friend down there in hell. Well, at least I'm not lonely anymore. To me, compassion is, I have realized you don't need to be doing that. Your 12-year-old daughter had her first relationship, and she's crying. It broke her heart, all right? And you're inside, you're saying, don't worry, there'll be many more. It's okay. Believe me, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. That's compassion. You have compassion for her, right? She hasn't caught on yet that, you got some human stuff going on in there. You'll be okay. You'll be okay, all right? And so basically you've caught on that you don't have to go down there. You don't have to store every single thing that ever bothered you. Why would you store everything that's already over? It will never happen again. You're not a child anymore. Your parents got divorced 20 years ago, or you got divorced 5 years ago. He or she's gone. Why are you still keeping them in there? I thought you got divorced. You got divorced outside. You didn't get divorced inside, did you? So you have willfully stored inside your precious mind all this garbage. And the garbage you stored was the most important stuff that bothered you the most. You didn't bother storing the white lines you drive by, or the clouds that go by, or the people you don't know. Hear me? Like 99.99% everything came with your senses. You didn't store it. You bring it back from memory, but that's not the same as resisting it and keeping it there. And why do you keep it there? You have to ask that. Why? Why do you? And it's kind of like a sick kind of thing, like kind of saying, I don't ever want to forget how much this hurt me because I don't want it to happen again. Isn't it kind of like that? I don't want this happening again, so I'm going to keep it there so it doesn't happen again. I don't know. It's weird. Tell me the truth. If I look at it that way, what a weird thing to do. Why would you do such a thing? It could affect the rest of your life, wouldn't it? It patterns the rest of your life. It determines what you're willing to do or not do for the rest of your life because you're afraid of the stuff you stored in there. So they got past that. You can get past that. How? You just learn. You learn to let go. You learn to not store stuff in there like that. They're called samskaras. Patterns you stored because you resisted them, you couldn't handle them, and so you kept them. All right. So the yogis, the great ones, got past all that. They stopped identifying, stopped storing, let it go, and you end up in witness. What does that mean? You're noticing your thoughts. You're noticing your emotions. You're not doing anything with them. You just notice that, just like you notice the world outside of you. It's exactly the same. True witness consciousness is exactly the same as being outside in the world. Things are happening. You see them, right? You just see them. I don't have to try. I just see them. Do I own them? Of course not. Cars drive by, weather happens. All kinds of things go on. You just see it. Do you see it? Yes. Do you deny seeing it? No. You just see it. It's called just seeing. Very Zen. You've heard that. You just see. I got to learn to just see. No, you just see. There's nothing stopping you from just seeing, so you just see. I'm telling you, I want you to see it the same as outside. Look how easy it is to see. Okay? You're doing that inside. Therefore, the thoughts and the emotions, they just come and they fly by. They don't draw you down into them. You don't get distracted by them. So you remain in your seat of consciousness. It's where you always were, but you got drawn out. That's one stage. It's not a very high state. We're going to talk about deep stuff today. That's a state of not getting drawn out of your seat of self, your seat of consciousness. At some point, when you spend enough time there, like here, at first I was scared by the snake. I was attracted to her, so I had to fight with that. Right now, I can able to just see. Fine. At some point that I can just see, it's not freaking me out. I can say, well, I wonder where she came from. What's this made of? While you're affected by it, you're just trying to control it and have a relationship. You follow me? But when it's neutral to you, it starts to be interesting. So I wonder what matter is. I wonder. And so you start to look past that. Right? You look at for what it is. What's form? Okay? Same thing inside. At some point, you spend enough time in witness to where you're not being drawn out. And it dawns on you, not mentally, just intuitively, where'd I come from? I am conscious. I do see the thoughts. I used to get lost in them. Now I'm back here, effortlessly. Where'd I come from? What's the nature of consciousness? Not the nature of what you're conscious of. What's the nature of consciousness? That's what they call the self. But now you're seated in the self. You're established in the seat of self. It's a very high state. Nothing's drawing you out. And I'm telling you, the intuitive feeling, who am I? Where did I come from? The difference is you're used to looking down out of yourself, like you look in front of yourself when you look outside. You're looking down inside, not being drawn down, but you're looking down. And it dawns on you that there's something behind you. There's always something in front, behind, left, right. You hear me? It's infinite. What's behind your seat of self? Not what's in front, and not where am I? What's behind? And it starts to draw you back inside. And what's happening is you're exploring the source of self, the source of consciousness, instead of consciousness. And you'll feel like a vacuum cleaner pulling you in versus your thoughts used to pull you out. This pulls you in. And that is the journey that the great ones took. And they all found the same thing. What they find? OMG. Oh my God, I am the universe. Every galaxy is inside of me. My entire being is one with all of creation. And they realized it's all made of consciousness. What is? Everything. But I thought it was made of energy. Yes, and they're the same thing. Consciousness and energy are the same force. That energy, Chit Shakti, are the same force. And it manifests as two different things. It manifests as the power that causes things to happen, and it manifests as the awareness that is aware that they're happening. In your dreams, you're Chit Shakti. You create the form and you get in. Yes or no? Are you present in your dream walking around? So you are both the consciousness and the energy. It's really beautiful. Like, it's so funny. You don't know these things, but you do know them. You're just not paying attention. No matter what dream you're having, it's still just a dream. It's made of the same fabric. And basically, it creates the form of your dream and it gets inside. And sometimes you can have lucid dreams where you're aware that you're dreaming. That's just another layer of awareness. That part that's aware that it's aware that it's aware that it's dreaming didn't project itself far enough into the form of the dream to identify itself as the body and the person that got married and all that kind of stuff that you do in your dreams. You understand that? You're both in and out. That's witness consciousness. That's, in essence, when you have a lucid dream, you're in witness consciousness within your dream. All right, you're aware that you're dreaming and you're still in the dream. It's such beautiful. The point is, consciousness and energy are the same thing. They're Chit Shakti. You'll start to experience it also when you meditate deeply enough. You go into complete quiet, empty. It's empty. And you'll see that in order to have a thought, your consciousness has to focus down onto it. Like when you try to, what does it mean to concentrate? Multiply 432 times 12.3 in your head. Right? You try to focus on it. You try to hold it in your mind. Ever try to hold a thought? Think of, what are you doing? I need you to look at that. What does it mean to hold a thought? What does it mean to write that number 1, 2, 3? They make it easier. 1, 2, 3 times 3 on the blackboard of your mind. You have to concentrate to do that. You are projecting your conscious. You say concentrate. What does that mean? Concentrate. Focus consciousness. What's concentrated consciousness? It is consciousness focusing itself, and that creates energy. Then you feel it as energy. You can get tired from thinking. Yes or no? Right? You're expending energy. You get tired from concentrating. I can't do this anymore. I'm worn out. Well, you didn't do anything. You did so. You focused consciousness and you projected energy down. The truth of the matter is, it's so hard to talk to people because they're so used to looking at everything so different, all right? If I pick up this glass, you all are physicists enough to understand what picked up that glass? A force. Is there a force making the glass not float in the air right now? Yes, there's a force called gravity. I had to offset that force to pick up that glass. Did I not? What force did I use? Trace it all the way back. Well, you use your muscles. That's not a force. That's a mechanism to carry a force. Well, you used food. No, I didn't eat right then. And, oh, you stored food. Very good. My answer to that is, you're all depressed. Your boyfriend and girlfriend just left you. You don't want to get out of bed for a week. Can't even move. You're just totally drained like a washcloth, dead, laying in the bed. You've been there, right? And all of a sudden, he or she calls on the phone after a week, and you pick it up. I don't want to pick it up, right? Oh, George, oh my God, I'm so sorry. How stupid was I? I didn't realize you're the meaning of my life. I had to get away from you for a week to realize that. Can I come see you? Please forgive me. How you doing? How are you doing? Did you get out of bed? Have a little energy? Take a shower? Clean everything up? Run around like a maniac? Where did the energy come from? It instantaneously, bam, all right? There's energy in there. You have energy in there. It does not come from your food. Yes, some energy can come from your food. Very little. You have Shakti. You have energy in there. Why don't I feel it? Because it's blocked. I blocked my energy, so I don't feel it. I didn't unblock my energy. Her phone call unblocked my energy, didn't it? It didn't unblock my energy. It opened me, so I stopped blocking my energy. I was blocking my energy. I was closing my heart. I was closing my mind. I'm all depressed. Depression, what's depression? No energy. Then all of a sudden there's energy? I don't understand. Well, I understand. You closed to the flow of Shakti inside of you. And then you opened, and there it is, instantaneously there. Wait, that was because it's open. Let's make believe. Let's see if we can get rid of it. You're sitting there in an intimate moment with your lover. You're so filled with joy and love and energy. Oh my God, you can't even see straight. You open your eyes, and he or she has their cell phone out, and they're looking at it behind your head. How much energy you got then? You just close, bam, right? And you're depressed for days. Wake up. There's energy in there. There's Shakti in there. Everybody experiences Shakti. They just don't understand what's going on. You're all yogis and yoginis. You're not paying attention to what's going on in there. So you have Shakti. Where does the Shakti come from? You're going to find out that your consciousness, your conscious awareness can focus on one thought in your mind and you feel no energy. Focus on another thought in your mind. You have a nice thought in your mind. You feel much better, don't you? What's positive thinking versus negative thinking? Have you noticed when you think negatively, you don't feel so good? You know, you get tired. You have no energy. You don't want to do anything. No inspiration. No anything. Notice if you turn around, you have positive thinking, all of a sudden it's totally different. Your consciousness is focusing on something and bringing positive energy. It's focusing on something and bringing negative energy. That's all. Do you know that you can have a negative thought and feel wonderful? I told you once, my Yoga Shakti, the Durga statue back in the 70s, very, very high saint, very, very high saint. She once leaned over to me and said, Mickey, yes, mother, don't you just love when they yell at you? There's so much energy. It's like it's up to you whether you're opening or closing. So you have inside of you, you've experienced two things, consciousness, awareness, and energy. You're going to find out they're the same thing. Where you put your consciousness, you're putting your energy. How did I pick up this glass? I willed, my intent was to pick up the glass. That's all it took. And I sent energy down there that offset gravity. You understand that? So consciousness and energy move together. All right, what does that mean? What's the difference? Well, for one thing, that's when you go far enough back deep inside yourself and you merge, you are Chit Shakti. You are the conscious energy. You're literally the energy that created the universe. Not created, you're creating the universe. That's how important your consciousness is, and how important your energy is. But we split them. We see them as totally different things. I need energy, I'll go eat. I need energy, I'll do a drug. All of it is telling you something, but you're not listening. Why? Because we're so messed up that all we want to do is have a nice experience. I don't mean just drugs, relationships, this, that, money, travel, every single thing. We need things to do what? Distract our consciousness from ourselves. That's what entertainment is. You're distracting yourself from yourself. Why? Because it's not nice in there. I need a relationship. I need money. I need to travel. I need to be inspired. I need a passionate job. Why? Because I'm not okay. Why are you not okay? I told you why you're not okay, because you stored all this garbage inside yourself. Now you need to get away from it. What happens if you don't do that? You're fine. You'll feel consciously aware. You're sharp. You're filled with Shakti. You want Shakti? Just wave your hand across the chakra. Anyone, just wave your hand across the chakra. Shakti is pouring out of you. That is who you are. You are Chit Shakti, your conscious energy. It's a beautiful thing to work with yourself, to raise yourself. But we don't. Why? Because we're focused on our stuff. And what we try to do is use the outside world to create a situation where I don't have to be focused on my stuff. I haven't been happy, but since I met you, I'm so much happier than I used to be. Why? Because you distract me from myself. The moment you do something I don't like, and I start feeling myself more, I don't want to be with you. So that's all that's happening. You're not understanding the relationship between your energy flow and the consciousness. So what does it all mean? It means at some point you start to work with yourself to realize, I started telling you about what is mind. Let's do that. What is mind? Mind is an energy field in which thoughts can be created. That's all it is. It's an energy field, a higher vibration rate than the physical plane. It's all it is. It's a higher vibration rate, and thoughts get created within that field, like waves get created in an ocean or a lake. So thoughts get created within a mind. And then you hold on to them and you build this whole structure, and then the consciousness gets buried in that, and that is a serious problem, and that is the only problem. And then you walk around saying, this is who I am. It's not who you are. So awareness is when you start realizing that you're staring at a pattern within a mind. You're staring at a pattern within a set of emotion field, and you don't have to do that. And so you can liberate yourself, free yourself. The states that the great yogis reach, the samadhis we talked about, I talked about sabhikalpa samadhi and nirvikalpa samadhi, like they're so high, they're giving names to the higher states. You don't stand a chance. What you do is talk about fear and anxiety and self-consciousness and embarrassment. So that's what you're identifying with. They let go enough to where sabhikalpa samadhi is when you let go enough to where you merge, and the entire universe, the form of the whole entire universe is your body. Literally, Yoga and I wrote that in this chapter of my experience in cosmic consciousness, in autobiography. You feel your entire body is all the galaxies, the entire infinite being. That's a very low state called sabhikalpa samadhi. There's a higher state. Nirvikalpa samadhi is when you go so deep that you don't even identify with any form, including as creator of the universe. And that's the void. That's the formless state, the non-dual. That's where you fall back into God before God created creation. Oh my God. And then from that state, that's why they were able to write what they wrote. From that state, you see how creation got created. You see how that which is empty, that which always was, always will be, it's just what is, how it created creation. I keep telling you now, I love it. It's hard not to talk about. Your scientists, they are your closest thing to your preachers nowadays, to your priests. Why? How can you go from formless into this, into all the galaxies, into all the black holes, into human bodies, into every single bit of creation that exists? They know how to do that now. That's what quantum physics is. They haven't gone all the way down, but they've come very, very close. Let's do it real quickly, all right? No, it's not true that that's made of molecules. It's not true. They told you it's not true. It's made of atoms. Oh, no, it's not true. It's not made of atoms. There are no atoms. It's not made of atoms. Atoms are made of something that appear to be atoms. What are they made of? Electron, neutron, and protons. You all got that in school, didn't you? There's electron, neutron, and protons. They put themselves together and you see them as atoms, but the electron, neutron, and protons. Well, quantum physics says, no, we looked a little closer with our big colliders, and we found out that neutrons and protons are actually made of something. They're not the basic element that created atoms. They're made of something. They're made of quarks and leptons and bosons and these subatomic particles. Well, they used to say subatomic particles. Now they don't say it anymore. There's literally no such thing as a particle. Those things are not particles. There's a field, an omnipresent, infinite field throughout the entire universe. It is the universe. And that field, like an ocean, it's a field, it's not a particle. It's a field. If that field vibrates, if something disturbs that field, it creates a wavelet. Like if you drop a leaf into a lake that's still, it creates a wavelet. Those wavelets have properties, not things. They have properties like magnetism, like force, and they interact together to make up protons, neutrons, and electrons, and those make up atoms. In other words, there's nothing really there. It's empty. It's just a field. If you ask a quantum physicist, what is the quantum field made of? They will tell you, we don't know. We just know that it's there, and we can see if it makes a wavelet, we can build with our standard model of physics. You give me that wavelet, and we'll build the universe. What they don't know is that field is made of consciousness. And that's why the yogis were able to merge with God. We're able to merge with it because you are. That's what they teach you. What did Christ tell you? My Father and I are one. What did Muktananda say? Meditate on the self. Honor and worship your own being, for God dwells within you as you. So that consciousness in there that is aware of what you're looking at is something very, very great. It's not a sinner. You are not a sinner. What you're looking at, now that thing got some problems. But you who's looking are the highest thing ever walked the face of the earth. All right? So basically, consciousness, that field, I'm glad we talked about that quantum field of which the wavelets create creation. Like I said, isn't it amazing that you give a quantum physicist a wavelet comes and goes. They cancel each other, all kinds of things goes on, just wavelets. And they will build the universe. They'll build every single star, all the galaxies, every single thing. They're all made out of those wavelets. So we're pretty darn close to where the yogis went, aren't we? But they experience from inside by becoming it, versus science is trying to study it from outside, which is fine. It's beautiful. But I'm interested, I like the very thoughts, brilliance that they have that are able to think about this stuff. Where did that come from? What is intelligence? That's what I wanted to talk to you about. All right? What is intelligence? Chit Shakti. Conscious energy is God. So it is God's intelligence that is coming down into the form of your mind and giving you inspiration and giving you the ability to think. It's all God. It's all one. It's nothing. It's just vibrating at different levels, and you're existing at whatever level you get caught in. Okay? So intelligence of your mind is a divine intelligence that created the universe. That's why people can be so creative. That's why artists can come up with things and why scientists can think of things. They're so busy thinking they're not questioning what makes it so you can think. Like, what in the world's going on in there? Like, this can't think. How come that can think? They don't know what the mind is. It's a bunch of neurons. No, it is not a bunch of neurons. That's like saying a computer's a bunch of wires. No, it is a bunch of wires put together in a way that software can go down and do things. And if you don't have the software, the thinking aspect, the computer doesn't think. Wires don't know how to think, but they can channel the intelligence of the software down. They run it and it goes down through it. Your neurons and all the stuff in your brain are just the nexus through which the intelligence of your mind passes down to the physical plane. It's just a transport. They're wires. They're very complex wires. It's not make it complex enough and it thinks. Make it complex enough and it has the ability to channel thinking. Beethoven, I always say this, I don't know that I'm right. People won't like it, but I love Beethoven, all right? Why? Beethoven heard music playing in his head enough that it drove him crazy. He did not write the music. He wrote down the music. That's how a true artist, it's just inspiration. It's just poured through his head. He was only calm if he could hear through his ears what was going on in his head. You know that later in his life, he was going deaf. He went deaf, right? Imagine the greatest composer went deaf. He cut the legs off his piano, put it on the wood floor, put his ears next to the floor so he could hear the vibration of the music. There was only sanity he could get. The music was coming from above. It did not come from him writing it. Where does that come from? God. But you got lots of layers before you get to Nirvikalpa. But all that inspiration, all that brilliance and intelligence, that's all coming from a higher consciousness, a higher vibration, dropping down into what you identify as yourself, as your thought patterns. Are you a creative person? No, I'm not. Yes, you are so. You're the greatest thing ever walked the face of the earth. You're the ultimate creativity. You're the brilliance of Einstein. Every single thing is who you are. The trouble is you're staring at something that's not that. If I told you, if I stare at this little piece of plastic, eventually I'm the piece of plastic. I am where my consciousness is. I am where my consciousness is. What else am I experiencing? My entire experience of self is where my consciousness is. Well, your consciousness is not in a very high place. It's hanging out to what happened to you that you didn't like in the past. You've identified yourself as the ego. I'm a human being. You are not a human being. How dare you degrade yourself like that? You're not even close. You're looking at one. You hang out with one. You are staring at a human being. Therefore, you think you're human. Therefore, you have all these human concepts. Oh my God, I'm going to die. You're not going to die. Consciousness can't die. It's always been. It will always be. It is that which is. And that is staring. That's like light saying, I'm going to die. Light's not going to die. If light is shining on something and it starts disintegrating, the light didn't disintegrate. Light is of a higher plane. Consciousness doesn't die. Let's get that straight. What happens when I die? You don't. There, I don't want to talk in between. I go to heaven or hell or go. Oh, details. All right. That's like saying you've admitted your consciousness didn't go anywhere. They all teach you. You go to heaven, you go to hell, you go here, you go to right. You're still conscious. You're still a conscious being. Ultimately, you will merge. Ultimately, the conscious will stop staring out away from itself, and it will allow itself to settle back into itself. And that's called self-realization, the realization of self. And so basically, your mind, mental plane, is all a manifestation of Chit Shakti. There's this God, conscious energy throughout the universe. Always was there. It's what is and was always. It slows down its vibration, even slightly, and these wavelets start happening. They can't happen when it's moving too fast. The wavelets start happening, and all of a sudden the physical plane gets created, and all of a sudden the consciousness, which didn't come down with it, it's still there, started looking down into what it created. And that's what you are. You're God's consciousness looking down through form. And you developed a mind that said, I am separate. I am Sally, and this is what happened to me. All right? That's not who you are. All of it is the descent of Chit Shakti, of conscious energy. So all of your will is energy, all your consciousness it's all the same thing, just vibrating at different rates all the way down until you end up here with this body and these thoughts, very specific thoughts. Yours are not the same as mine. Why? Because you had different experiences. Therefore, you store different things. Otherwise, the mental plane is the mental. We're all sharing the physical plane. Believe me, you're all sharing the mental plane. Wait, is that true? Is that true that all thoughts right now are all in the same plane interacting with each other? Absolutely, just the same as all your atoms are. Well, why don't I see them? Because you're only staring at yours. Can a psychic see someone else's thoughts? Yes, a true psychic can see the thoughts. They see the thoughts. Okay? But you only care about your thoughts. You care about your thoughts. What I want, what I don't want, what I like, what I don't like, who I like, who I don't like, the weather I like. Every single thing is I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. Then those are the thoughts that you attract and hold to yourself, and you build a you in there. That's the funniest part I ever heard of. You build a you in there out of thoughts, and you're serious about them. I'm serious about what I like. What you like is a thought. No, it's not. Have you ever changed your mind? I really like chocolate ice cream. I've always liked chocolate ice cream. That's what I like. I like chocolate ice cream. Okay? Then all of a sudden somebody told me it's made out of plastic. What? So all it takes is one more thought and all your thoughts change. Yes or no? Not so solid, is it? And you're defining yourself as that. You're defining yourself as the thought you had based on experience you had in the past. That's not who you are. It's not mystical for me to tell you you're not your thoughts. Of course you're not your thoughts. But you hold on to some of them and you let others go through. And you built a house in there called your ego, your self-concept. You built a house in there and your consciousness is married to that house. It got inside that house. It doesn't know how to get out. Help! I want out. Well, there was a 60s song. I loved it, right? We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do, you gotta get out of that house. That's a house of horrors. You built that house out of your horrors. You did. You stored every single thing that ever bothered you and made a house out of it, and then went and lived in it. Okay? So that is consciousness and energy. They're the same thing. None of this stuff is real. I don't understand the physicists, the quantum physicists, they find out that it's not even there, and then they go home and fight with their wife. What's wrong with you? Why can't you bring what you know into reality? You having trouble? Something happening you don't like? Get up, get really big, and sit on top of the planet. Just, that's your chair, right? You're sitting on top of this beautiful little ball, spin in the middle of what? Black, empty space. For as far as you can see, ain't nothing. Okay, what's your problem? If the entire planet got blown to smithereens tomorrow, a couple of other planets would change their orbit and nothing else would know it was even here. I told you, one star, you'll get these 9 planets spinning around this star. There are 300 billion of those stars in your galaxy. And I visited the astronomy department recently, and I asked them, how many stars in our galaxy have exoplanets? They said, we think now all of them do. 300 billion, and they think all of them have one or more, two or more. And you're one of those, around one star. And what problem are you having? And you don't even have to stay here very long. Here's 80, 90 years on a tiny little ball in the middle of nowhere. You do not have any problems. You've never had any problems. You made it up in your mind. What do you mean? I don't like what she said to me. You made that up. Nobody cares. Isn't it not true that only you care what she said to you? Sometimes I'll have a thought about something that I did in the past that's so embarrassing. It wasn't a big deal, right? But something I wasn't comfortable with. I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago. And I think maybe I said something to somebody. Do you think they remember what I said to them? There's not a chance in the world. It's just something you did in your mind. Therefore, it's a big thing to you. You are causing your own problems. Stop it. And you just get to the point where you go, you're welcome. I do it all the time. I live on the top of the planet, and I leave whenever I want, okay? He's not going to do that to me. No way I'm letting this stupid mind ruin my life. I'm here on a planet spinning around or having experiences. Are there things he likes? Yeah. The things he don't like? Absolutely. Does it matter? No. Does that mean I don't do something about it? You're welcome. Go be an activist. Go work for what you want. There's no problem. Just don't get caught in it. It's a game. How can it not be a game? One little planet spinning around one star, which is 300 billion in one galaxy. How many galaxies are there? 2 trillion. With hundreds of billions of stars in each one. And you're freaking out by what somebody said. Worse yet, you're freaking out by what you said. Ever walk away from a conversation and not feel comfortable about it? I shouldn't have said that. Oh my God, should I call him? No, that just makes a big deal. Come on, wake up. You are something very great. You're Chit Shakti. That song I sang of Yogananda's, when thy song flows through me. Well, when you go deep inside, you understand how great masters wrote songs like that. What does that mean when thy song flows through me? You start feeling the Shakti coming down, washing over you. There's no problems. It washes everything away. And you just experience the song flowing through you. You're all capable of that. It can be beautiful inside. What's stopping you? Nobody. You're the only one in there. Make it nice in there. And you're going to find out that it's not nice, it's beautiful. They're going to find out that it's not beautiful, you're beautiful. They're going to find out everything's beautiful. The fact that it exists is unbelievable. You're having trouble here on Earth? Go to Mars for a while. See how you do. You come back here so fast, okay? Will you please look what you got all the time? Trees and grass and people and things to do. And oh my God. When was the last time there was nothing in front of you? Never. And all you do is complain. All you think, it has to be different than it is for me to be okay. Why don't you just appreciate it? And I'm telling you why. I told you why. Because you stored everything that ever bothered you inside of you, and now you're bothered. And you need things to be a certain way for you to not be bothered. Well, why don't we just not store that stuff and try to be here now? Try to experience the reality of the fact that we have all this stuff going on. It's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. And just be blown away every second that it exists. And where did a tree come from? An acorn? A seed? Drive by a cornfield. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. You got to listen. Drive by a cornfield. What do you see? You know what I see? I see a kernel of corn that fell on the ground and turned itself into an entire corn stalk with corn ears all over the place. How the heck did that happen? Did I do it? No. Did the farmer do it? No. What did it? Where'd that corn stalk come from? It wasn't there a while ago. It's atoms. It's real. Something had the intelligence to suck dirt, water, and sunlight and turn it into a corn stalk. Was it a chemist? How could it do that? What did that? Oh, the DNA molecule. Oh, really? A molecule did it. There's an intelligence that's doing all of this. Isn't it? That pretty intelligent? And that's to talk about your baby. It's not your baby. It's a single cell that knows how to make the pancreas and the liver and the brain and the kidney and the pineal gland. No. Yes. It made all that. Out of what? Twinkies and Coke. I know we like to eat right, but it could do it. It's been known to do it. They eat some really bad shit. And the baby comes out. Not always so good, but the net result is it made itself. That cell had the intelligence. I don't care if you believe in God or not. I have no interest in it, right? Just believe in that. That's enough. Just understand that you didn't do it. Didn't do what? Anything. Well, I do a lot. You do a lot because there's trees, because there's sunlight, because there's water, because there's baby, because there's a body. Take away the stuff you didn't do. There ain't nothing you're doing. Now I've just showed you ego. You made this thing up in your mind. I'm the doer. You are not squat, okay? And you don't want to be squat. You want to be able to come here and say, wow, look what there is, and I didn't have to do it. I don't need to make the sun shine. I don't need to make the trees grow. I don't need to make the body, the cells of my body, 35 trillion of them talk to each other, divide and interact with it. Whoa, I got my day off. How much do you not have to do? The only thing you think you have to do is try to manipulate what is so it be what you think it needs to be so that it matches your ego. That's what you're busy doing, trying to make it be what you decided it should be instead of the miracle of what it is. Okay, Chit Shakti. Don't forget it. There's one force, Chit Shakti, conscious energy, that created the entire universe, and you're it. That's the amazing part. You're it. You are that force. And you're busy staring at this little thing that you made up and having a terrible life unless it's exactly the way you want it to be. Let go. All right. Work on yourself. Free yourself. Free yourself. Jagrata.
You've been listening to the Michael Singer Podcast, produced by Sounds True in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information on Michael's body of work and all back episodes, please join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Sounds True, waking up the world.